Picture this: a rip in your favorite jeans. Today you might toss them in the discard pile, but our ancestors, they'd see an opportunity. Let's rewind to a time when the concept of repair, not replace, was woven into the fabric of everyday life. Back then, a torn piece of clothing wasn't deemed useless. Instead, it presented a chance to dust off the sewing kit and breathe new life into an old favorite. A broken tool didn't mean a trip to the store, it was an invitation to put problem-solving skills to the test. In the days of old, every item had a value beyond its price tag. A pair of jeans, for example, represented hours of labor, from planting and harvesting the cotton to spinning the yarn, weaving the fabric, and finally, sewing the garment. A rip didn't diminish its worth, it merely required a little mending. But this art of repair extended beyond clothing. Tools, furniture, even homes. Nothing was too big or too small to fix. A broken handle on a hammer didn't render it useless, it simply needed a new handle, carved meticulously from available wood. A leaky roof didn't mean finding a new home, it meant patching it up until the next storm. And the tools for these repairs? They were as simple as they were effective. A needle and thread could mend a tear, sew a patch, or stitch a wound. A sharp knife could carve a new handle, whittle a fishing spear, or slice bread for dinner. These were the essential tools of survival, and knowing how to use them was a skill as crucial as hunting or gathering. Today, in our world of convenience and disposable goods, we've let this art of repair slip through our fingers, but in a world where survival is paramount, knowing how to fix what's broken isn't just handy, it's essential. So, the next time you find a rip in your jeans or a broken tool in your hand, see it as our ancestors did, not as an end, but as an opportunity to practice the timeless art of repair. Lost in the wilderness without a GPS? No problem, if you know how to read the skies and the land. That's right, navigation is a skill as ancient as humanity itself. Our ancestors, lacking the digital conveniences we enjoy today, relied on their keen observations of the natural world to find their way. Let's start with the sun. Rising in the east and setting in the west, the sun is a reliable compass, but therefore it's not quite as simple as it seems. The sun's path changes slightly each day, and you'll need to understand these changes to navigate accurately. But what about when the sun sets, plunging the world into darkness? Well, that's when the stars come into play. For millennia, sailors and explorers have used the constellations to navigate the open sea and the vast wilderness. The North Star, for example, has been a reliable beacon of the North for countless generations. However, not all navigation is skybound. Natural landmarks are incredibly useful for finding your way. A distinctive mountain peak, a uniquely shaped tree, or a winding river, these can all serve as points of reference to keep you on track. Now, let's move on to signaling. Lost isn't a permanent state if you can communicate your location. Smoke signals, for instance, are a classic method of long-distance communication. The plume of smoke can be seen for miles, drawing attention to your location. Mirrors, too, are surprisingly effective signaling tools. A flash of reflected sunlight can catch the eye of a passerby or a search party. And if mirrors are not at hand, any reflective surface, like a polished can or a piece of glass, can serve the same purpose. In a world increasingly reliant on digital technology, these traditional navigation and signaling skills may seem obsolete, but in a survival situation, they can be the difference between life and death. As our ancestors knew, the world around us is a map, if we know how to read it. Tools are only as good as their maintenance. A well-cared-for blade can last a lifetime. Just as our ancestors knew, the longevity of any tool lies in its upkeep. They didn't have the luxury of running to the hardware store at the first sign of a dull blade or a splintered handle. For them, a well-kept tool was a lifeline, an essential partner in the daily struggle for survival. Let's talk about blades. Whether it's an axe for chopping wood, a knife for preparing food, or a saw for construction, a sharp blade makes all the difference. But how do you keep a blade sharp? It's simpler than you might think. All you need is a sharpening stone and a little oil. By running the blade along the stone at the correct angle, you can maintain a keen edge that will make your work easier and more efficient. But what about when a tool breaks? Our ancestors didn't throw away a perfectly good blade just because the handle was broken. Instead, they would carve a new handle, giving the tool a second life. You too can learn this skill. All you need is a piece of wood, a knife, and a bit of patience. Start by selecting a sturdy piece of wood, then whittle it down to fit the tang of your blade. Secure it in place, and just like that, you've breathed new life into a once-broken tool. These skills aren't just about survival, they're about resilience and self-reliance. They're about understanding that the things we use aren't disposable but valuable resources that deserve our care and respect. They're about connecting with a time-honored tradition of craftsmanship and resourcefulness that is as relevant today as it was for our ancestors. With proper care, the tools of survival can serve us for a lifetime. Remember, a tool is more than just an object. It's a testament to human ingenuity, a symbol of our ability to shape the world around us. So, the next time you pick up a tool, think about the craft that went into making it, the hands that have held it before you, and the legacy of skill and knowledge that it represents. In an era of abundance, we've forgotten the value of using everything we have. It's easy to discard the seemingly unimportant, the leftover, the broken. But what if we changed our perspective? What if we saw potential instead of waste? Consider this: our ancestors made use of every part of the resources they had. Nothing was insignificant, nothing was wasted. The bones from last night's dinner, they could be transformed into valuable tools or boiled down to a nourishing broth. They understood the value of everything. Let's take a step into their shoes. Imagine you've just finished a meal, and you're left with a pile of vegetable scraps. Your first instinct might be to throw it all away. But wait, these scraps can be the start of a hearty homemade vegetable stock. The ends of carrots, the peels of onions, the stalks of celery, they all have flavor to offer. Start by saving your scraps. Keep a container in the freezer where you can collect them. Once it's full, it's time to make some stock. Simply add water and let it simmer. The result is a flavorful base for soups, stews, and sauces. Not only are you reducing waste, but you're also creating something delicious. And let's not forget about animal bones. If you're a meat eater, bones can be a valuable resource. They can be fashioned into tools, jewelry, or even used in construction. But their most immediate use? Broth. Boiling bones extracts minerals and collagen, creating a nutrient-dense liquid that can fortify your meals. Making the most of our resources is not just about survival, it's about respect. Respect for the resources we have, respect for the effort it took to produce them, and respect for the world that provided them. In survival, waste is a luxury we can't afford, so let's challenge ourselves to see the value in everything. Let's honor our resources by using them fully, just as our ancestors did. Because in the world of survival, every bit counts. Fire, the difference between life and death in the wilderness. This elemental force, at once destructive and life-giving, has been tamed by humanity for thousands of years. The ability to create fire is not just a survival skill, it's a testament to human ingenuity and a symbol of our mastery of the natural world. Now let's take a journey back in time and explore some ancient methods of fire making. These techniques might seem archaic in our world of lighters and matches, but they are as effective today as they were in the Stone Age. First up, we have the flint and steel method. This technique involves striking a piece of hard, sharp flint against a piece of steel. The sparks generated can ignite a bundle of dry tinder, bringing forth a flame. It's a simple process, but it requires practice and a keen understanding of the materials involved. Next, we turn to the fire plow method. This technique involves rubbing a hardwood shaft against a softer wood base, generating heat through friction. The resulting hot dust can then ignite dry tinder. It's a labor-intensive process, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Lastly, we have the bow drill method. This technique uses a bow to spin a drill against a fireboard, creating friction and ultimately fire. The bow drill is considered one of the most efficient primitive fire-making methods, but it also requires skill and patience to master. The importance of fire in survival can't be overstated. It provides warmth in cold temperatures, enabling us to stave off hypothermia. It allows us to cook food, killing harmful bacteria, and making it more digestible. It can be used to purify water, making it safe to drink. And it can serve as a deterrent to predators, providing a measure of protection in the wild. Master the art of fire, and you hold survival in your hands. When you can coax flames from raw materials, you reclaim a bit of our ancestors' wisdom and self-sufficiency. It's a skill that connects us to our past and prepares us for whatever the future may bring. Nature provides if we know how to use her gifts. The world around us is rich with resources waiting to be discovered and utilized. Consider the humble plant fiber, often overlooked, yet capable of being transformed into durable rope with a bit of knowledge and patience. Or think about tree sap, a sticky substance that, when treated correctly, can create a waterproof seal for your gear. In times gone by, our ancestors knew how to harness these natural gifts to their advantage. They built shelters from the trees, dyed their clothes with plants, and waterproofed their boots with sap. These skills, though seemingly lost to time, are still valuable today, particularly in survival scenarios. Imagine being lost in the wilderness with only the clothes on your back and the knowledge in your head. Knowing how to identify and use the resources around you can make all the difference. Remember, knowledge is power, and the natural world is a powerful ally. Knowing how to use the resources nature provides can be a game changer in a survival situation. In a world without cash, skills are currency. Let's journey back in time when bartering was the order of the day. People traded skills and goods instead of using money. A blacksmith might mend a plow in exchange for a farmer's surplus grain, or a seamstress sew a quilt for a woodcutter's firewood. Today, these old skills could be your ticket to trading for goods in a post-cash world. Imagine a world where you can barter your ability to repair clothes, navigate the wilderness, or start a fire. Skills like these are invaluable and could be traded for essential goods or services. You might wonder, how do I develop these skills? Start by learning and practicing. There are plenty of resources available online and in your local library that can guide you on this journey. When the chips are down, it's not what you have, it's what you can do.